Hi guys, it's Mandy from Mandyleeplays. Do you guys remember when I said that Dragon Quest HD 2D Remake was going to be the last RPG I buy this year? Well, it's not. Because in this video, we're going to be talking about Fantasian and everything you need to know before you buy. If you end up liking this video, then please hit that like button. It does help the video a lot. I do a lot of videos like this, list videos, and discussions as well when it comes to RPGs/JRPGs. So if you're into all that kind of goodness, then please consider subscribing if you're not yet subscribed. Alrighty, with all that preamble aside, let's get into the video. Now, there's not a lot of buzz about Fantasian Neo Dimension. Nobody's really talking about it, and it kind of snuck up on a lot of people. So if you're on the fence about whether you should buy Fantasian Neo Dimension, then this videos for you. So let's get this started right away with the developers. Now, the developers of this game is Misc, but it's also being published by Square Enix. Now, for those who are not in the loop, Misc is a studio founded by none other than Hironobu Sakaguchi. Yeah, I got that pronunciation right. And he is most famous for creating the Final Fantasy series and even oversaw its success worldwide. So the dude is pretty popular. Moreover, while working at Misc, he developed games such as Blue Dragon, Lost Odyssey, and The Last Story, which are really iconic games in the JRPG genre. Now, the relationship between Sakaguchi and Square wasn't really the best, so he left the studio in 2003 and went on to work on his own projects. But Sakaguchi and Square did come back to work together again to bring us Fantasian. But at first, that was not the case. Fantasian was only available on the Apple Play app, and yeah, that didn't really do so much good for the game. Now, the whole rift between Sakaguchi and Square Enix was ultimately saved by Yoshi P. He convinced Sakaguchi to work with Square Enix. So much drama in these offices, I kind of want to know what happened. All jokes aside though, joining along with the game is the well-known composer Abua Nuamatsu. Y'all thought I was gonna mispronounce that too, huh? No.
Nobuo Uematsu.
Now, a few interesting things that I would like to know about Fantasian. They released it in parts for some reason. I don't know. I really don't know how this deal was conveyed in the first place. The game first released 2 years ago, and it really hasn't seen the light of day, so I am happy that it's finally getting developed for other consoles. Now, another interesting fact about this game, it used dioramas to set the set pieces of the game, and when they made a diorama, they scanned it into the game. Supposedly, the number of dioramas created was close to 150, which, not gonna lie, that is really cool and unique. Alrighty, next is the setting and the plot of the game. In this game, you play as Leo, who wakes up to the most cliched plot device to ever exist, amnesia. How fun, how original. I'm being sarcastic if you guys haven't noticed. God, I hate amnesia as a plot device, but I digress. Now, the world he wakes up in is the world of Vibra, where this Maca infestation has grown really bad, and the worsening of the situation has compelled many people to leave their settlements and homes. The Mactarians, as they are known, are the main villains of this story. They love to kidnap people and siphoning their emotions to destroy anything that they touch. So not only is Leo having to fight his way through the many Macanis attacking this world, but he also has to find out who he is. Hey guys, it's Editing Mandy. I don't know why I said Macanis, but it's supposed to be Mactarians. My bad. Now, not jumping to conclusions too much, to me this game is not going to be anything new or revolutionary when it comes to the story. I've played a bunch of JRPGs and you kind of get that vibe sometimes where you kind of know the direction the story is going to take. It's kind of like an RPG Sixth Sense or something like that. But it does have a somewhat interesting plot. And a lot of Sakaguchi's work is based on his earlier work from Final Fantasy, mainly Final Fantasy VI. In an interview by Touch Arcade, Sakaguchi wanted the story to be like Final Fantasy VI, where in the first half it is focused heavily on a singular narrative, while in the second half it's a more quest-based and non-linear in structure. And this is probably why it was released in 2 parts in the Apple Arcade, but with the console versions we're getting both parts together. So yeah, this game is not going to be revolutionary when it comes to the story, but I'm sure it's going to be somewhat enjoyable. Now on to the gameplay. Now, Fantasian Neo Dimension is a traditional JRPG, and and it has the traditional turn-based mechanics. But there is a little twist. So instead of just picking attacks on the menu and letting the turns happen, you, the player, are aiming and positioning attacks, and depending on if the attack is aimed properly, you could hit multiple enemies. So instead of it just being a classic turn-based combat, it does add a little spice to it, and it makes you feel more involved. Now the next gameplay feature might be my favorite from this game, and that's how it handles random encounters. Random encounters has been a feature in RPGs since it really began, and there's a lot of debate on how to do it well. But in this game, I think it does it really well. So essentially how it works is you walk around and random battles start, you beat the enemy, rinse and repeat. But here's the kicker. After you face an enemy type once, you have the option to skip the random encounter. You use this thing called the Dimension, which lets you store a bunch of different random encounters so you could encounter them when you want to. You could literally say, not now, I'll deal with you later, and that's a game mechanic. I love it. I don't know, I think that's a real genius option right there, and I can't wait to play it and see how it goes myself. And I don't know, I just really like when game developers think of stuff that's outside the box to handle common problems in the genre, and I just love that. Now with Fantasian moving to consoles, there are some differences between the Apple Arcade version and the console versions. So let's go over those changes. The first and major change is that the game now has difficulty options. It might not look it, but Fantasian for the Apple Arcade was known to be really difficult. So having difficulty options is always a good thing.
My next point is this game is advertised to have 4K visual. Obviously not the Switch one, but the PlayStation 5, Xbox, and Steam version will have 4K displays. I'm personally just getting it on my Switch because I don't really care for 4K stuff, but that's a cool bonus if you're into that.
And for some odd reason, the Apple Arcade version did not have any voice dialogues, but with the move to consoles, it is going to have voice acting. Mostly due because of fan demands. They were probably like, this isn't Pokemon, I need some voice acting.
You, my mechanical friend. Good going, you two. You really turned...
Running damage control for Master Leo's mistake.
Damage control. Well, I haven't found all the answers I'm looking for, but at least I'm out seeing the world.
Perhaps they can tell you what you wish to know.
I'll get them all back, whatever it takes. Then what are we waiting for? Let's go to the God Realm.
And it's English dubbed, but if you don't like that, you can always switch to the Japanese. And the last point I want to highlight is the soundtrack. You could easily switch the battle music from the original soundtrack to various songs from the Final Fantasy franchise, which is really cool. Now, time for the miscellaneous things, the points that couldn't fit in the previous other points. This game is being priced at $50, and there's over 60 hours of game content, which in my opinion is a good price for a full-length JRPG. I'm just freaking glad it's not $70. The next fun fact is about the dioramas themselves. It says it took around 10 companies to really make these things, which is just really wild. And most of them are veterans in the kasaku industry, which they make a lot of live action shows like Power Rangers, Kamen Rider, you know, things like that.
Today is fine day in California. Huh? Choose.
One of the most notable contributors to this whole diorama thing was none other than Akira Toriyama, which if you don't know who that is, then you're probably living under a rock, but he's basically the guy who created Dragon Ball and did the art for Dragon Quest games, plus Chrono Trigger too. Though he submitted his diorama under a pseudonym. I'm not sure why he did this, but it's super cool that he did. Now remember when I said Yoshi P helped Fantasian get the green light from Square Enix? A nice little tidbit is that Creative Studio 3 had a hand in developing the console versions of Fantasian, but they're also well known for making Final Fantasy XIV A Realm Reborn and helping with Final Fantasy XVI, which yes, those are both projects that Yoshi P has directed. And Sakaguchi himself is an avid Final Fantasy XIV player, and he shows that many times on his Twitter.
So this game is made with a lot of love and passion, and I hope you guys got some good info out of this video. Let me know what you guys think think in the comments down below. Are you gonna grab it? Are you not? If you like this video, then please hit that like button. Would appreciate it. And if you love this content and want to see more, please consider subscribing. It would help this channel a lot, and we are really close to 8K, so let's try to get that by the end of the year. You can follow me on my socials in the description down below. I hope you guys have a beautiful day, and as always, play a good game. Peace.
With a drink and apple wines, every man seems so